so out of 10.
Meh.
Yeah, meh from me.
Meh out of 10. Okay.
It was fun, I guess.
Some nice moments and some...
I thought it looked nice. You know, again, clearly the Disney budget's really, allocated in it.
I enjoyed it, but I did think it kind of confirmed to me that the show needs maybe some new writers.
I found it whimsical fun myself, but
very, very silly at times, I'll say that much. I'm guessing that's what they're going
that'd
for.
be the whimsical fun I mentioned.
I don't know if I've not got the Christmas spirit anymore, but there was nothing in this episode that made me feel any joy. Maybe because there was so little joy physically anyway in this. Joy was so missing in what was quite literally an episode named after her.
Now, I'm not saying Joy is a bad character at all, but if you were to ask me what do I remember from Joy,
It's not that there was nothing to the character, but the character was very much defined by her trauma.
she's kind of a product of some of Stephen Moffat's other writing tropes where he has like something important regarding a certain character and builds a big mystery, a big characteristic of said character, but he forgets to make the character a character.
Like, there was barely any time to know who that character was. If I was doing this episode, I would just have it in the Time Hotel and have the Doctor and Joy go through other doors and experience other things across time.
I like the bit when Hilary and Tenzing were looking up at the start, and he said, "Do you think we'll make it to the summit?" And he goes, "Yes, it's in the stars." I don't know why, but I really, really like that.
On paper, you say the phrase Time Hotel, sell it very well, but you think about it and there's issues with it about time tourism essentially. Like, are we just letting any old Yank go through with all their like Hawaiian shots and shit to go see the assassination of Caesar?
The brochure for the presidential assassination special, I've got 2 points about this, because it says Lincoln and Kennedy. Now, first of all, McKinley is also an assassinated US president. That actually happened. B, there's quite a big gap, and it looks like I think Moffat wanted to write Trump, and he was prevented from doing so, by BBC lawyers.
There was no parameters set about what the Time Hotel is, and I think there's a wider story that could have been done if we spent more time in the Time Hotel instead of Rando Hotel.
Doctor Who's had enough paradoxes over the years, but the way that 4-digit code came around and then there was no explanation of it, it just happens.
I don't get why a dingy hotel in 2024 London is worth a door in the Time Hotel. Why? It implies that something happens at that period in London, but I don't know what it is, because the Doctor then lives through it and nothing happens.
That year in the hotel, that just didn't speak to me. I think because we've seen it before.
Like the 14th Doctor did it, the 11th Doctor did it, it's happened, it lacks the novelty that the 15th Doctor seems to play it as.
I actually expected that to just be a minute-long montage, but no, there was a good 10 to 15 minutes dedicated to the Doctor at that hotel and him bonding with Anita.
We didn't need a whole 20 minutes, so I thought they could have cut that in half.
Yeah, I
It
know.
took up way too much of the episode. So then when we get back to Joy and the rest of the stuff, I'm like, okay, that's what we were? Okay, fair enough.
And that's the key issue with this story, is that it's not a story, it's 2 stories. There is the Joy plot that we have about the starseed and such, and then there's an interlude of a 15-minute break in a hotel for a year. Two story ideas that in their own right perfectly fine to work with, but you do them both a disservice by like clambering one into midway through the other.
So you even asked me at one point, oh, what's the time on this? And I checked and went, oh, well, we're almost at the last 15, 20 minutes of the
Yeah.
episode.
And that's
And that's when we got to Joy again.
and that's when we got to Joy again, and that's when it actually got kicking.
Then the doctor, what does he do? He goes, "Oh, I wonder what it'd be like to live life day by day in linear order. I've never done that before." Fucking done it every doctor of the new series. Oh my god, it's just like, you know, the 12th Doctor in the university, the 11th Doctor in the Time of the Doctor.
Power of Three, the 12th Doctor in season 10.
There's been so many times that the Doctor has been doing that.
Like, he treats this idea of living on Earth and just not doing anything, doing Scuttle for a while, as an alien concept. Like, he's not done that every 5 years in the show. Like, this is my frustration with Russell T Davies, is like, you are just retreading ground in a reheated way that loses its flavour, loses its originality, and people are getting sick of it.
But I like the narrative, you know, the relationship of him and Anita.
And I thought the two of them shared some really lovely scenes with each other, and I quite liked Anita.
I think Anita should have been the companion of the episode and not Joy.
Because Joy was very passive in the episode, if I'm going to be honest. In fact, as mentioned, Anita was more... she was a more active character in the episode. The background character that was only a companion for like 2 minutes, slight exaggeration, but still not the main companion. I remember more about her, I remember more about her character, and she had a personality, and she wasn't one of the main stars.
I like that, like, she was committed enough to him to, when he wanted to get into the honeymoon room, she let him in, and they both went into a honeymoon room occupied by a honeymooning couple, and she's just sitting on the side eating the biscuits or whatever. But also, how sad is it if that was where you had your honeymoon?
I really liked it, you know, it's nice the Doctor having a friend and not being alone at Christmas and all this and that, you know, and I liked how he was just kind of like being a waiter and, you know, like a plumber and all this and that.
When the Doctor was working at the hotel, there was some really funny bits. Like, I like when he has the plunger and he's like, "Is this armed?" That was good. I like some of the callbacks were fun. I like when he fixes our GPS. It's like, it doesn't take me where I want to go, but it takes you where you need to go, and it's blue.
You know there are people about you. You're essentially doing magic in front of people.
Yeah.
And obviously the little TARDISes as well.
Oh, I did like a little nod to I did the fan.
Yeah, it's 'cause it was clear.
Oh, what are those? A little bit at home. Just randomly found like them online.
Yeah.
Because it's like, but going back on being with family and all that, it's what we've seen before, because he's to the Doctor's now living with Donna and her family. He spent Christmas with Rose and her family, so it's nothing new there.
I thought the ending was a little, you could tell, kind of with how much time was spent with Anita, that it kind of had to maybe rush through the stuff with Joy.
That scene with the briefcase, again, the clip they put out, that should have happened before that at least, or 20 minutes earlier in the episode, to give it to, because it doesn't feel like anything paid off with it. You know, we knew about the whole, like, basically that clip told us about everything, you know, with Vellingard and that. So we knew where it was going.
It's swallowed by a dinosaur. The dinosaur either throws it up or the other way. It ends up in a shrine, and then somehow it's gonna explode.
Yeah, I was a bit vague on that, because why do they need to go through that whole elaborate procedure? I'll just take it back.
Yeah, that's... See, what's the expression? You're using a sledgehammer to crack a walnut.
And the Vellingard stuff took way too long to... But we already had the clip, obviously, so we knew where it was going, so it didn't really feel like anything paid off, or...
Nah.
It didn't feel like, oh, there's a threat here, because apart from that, I didn't really have a villain at all either.
I said I didn't think Joy was in this a lot, but there were still good scenes in isolation. The Doctor being very manipulative to Joy to try and get the suitcase off her wrist, I think was a brilliant moment for that, to have the Doctor be that manipulative character again, and also have just the sheer rage about the Tories partying in lockdown, and just like with full gusto saying the Tories on Christmas is a very good message.
Some folk didn't like the coronavirus angle.
We saw what Joy was meaning about how she couldn't see her mum on Christmas Day, and it was on Christmas Day of 2020, and I'm like, oh. I'm still trying to decide on whether that was sensitively done or not.
Oh yeah, we've got a free ICU bed now because your ma's turned to stardust. Not very helpful when probably so many folk have been affected by this issue.
For me, although it's quite a dark subject to do in a Christmas special, I think it was sort of like acknowledging and validating people's legitimate anger.
Moffatt will just do things and then turn around and go, oh, by the way, in case you've forgotten, the Tory party and Boris Johnson are murdering. Do not forget this. They killed your families. They killed people while they went and had drinks. Them forever. I really, really liked that. That bit was probably the best bit of the entire episode.
And to be honest, I'm loath to criticise it because I do feel it was really the only element of the episode that kind of elevated it beyond the totally generic. It was the only thing in the whole episode that it felt was actually about something, and about something real.
The flip side of that I didn't like was I did not need to see her mum die of COVID or space dust or whatever really killed her, like at all. Like I got it from wanting to see her mum again, and even if it was literally, you know, a scene of her in bed looking up in the sky and seeing the star, but the whole stardust energy was a step too far for me, and it was not needed to have had that scene with the mother.
Then the ending happened. Yeah, it was mince. Absolute mince.
When Joy was that didn't work. Which is no, it didn't work when it was David Tennant, and it did not work when it was Joy. This whole floating and glowing thing, just leave it. It's never. It may have worked at some point. It did not work here.
I was told 2005 build. Look, I'm floating in there like a rat nose.
It's like I'm kind of done with this because it's the same tropes now over and over and over again.
I did like the ending of Joy turning into the star and how she became the star in the sky. I
genuinely was not seeing the Christmas star coming. And when it happened, the big reveal, and I got it before the Bethlehem came up, but I genuinely went, bloody hell, to the camera. So you know, and kind of as a script writer, that's kind of the reaction you want from the audience. So well played. It'd be funny if they went, you know, 001 CE, either at the end of Palestine.
With Doctor Who and Christianity, the Bethlehem part, what do you think of that? Because I didn't even ask you.
At the end of the day, it depends on what you believe and and how you feel about it, and from that standpoint.
I don't really mind the thing of bringing the religion into it because it was neutral whether, you know, it didn't say that Jesus was actually divine or not. It just implied that he was born at some point, which I think is a fairly common point of view even in secular circles, so I don't mind that. Probably wasn't in 1 CE, but you know, I'll allow it because that makes sense to people and it's fine, it's artistic license. I wasn't bothered.
All I'm glad is, as a lot of people are, they actually get the date right to some extent.
Yeah.
To whether you believe a bit further along within a lot of the early Bible stuff, if you are Christian, is a bit hit and miss on dates, but it's nice that they actually reference year 1 and not year 0, because there's no such thing.
When Joy said to the Doctor, find a friend, find someone to keep you company, I'm like, that's just basically the end of The Runaway Bride when Donna said to the Doctor, find someone to stop you. except I don't think it quite landed as well, because in The Runaway Bride we saw what a glimpse into what the Doctor would be like without a companion to stop him when he was drowning the Arachnos' children. And it was when Donna said, "That's enough," where the Doctor was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And we actually saw the repercussions of what would happen if Donna wasn't there to stop the Doctor in Turn Left, which is a fantastic story. In Joy to the World, we didn't really get that. I mean, we only just had the Doctor saying, "This is why you're alone, that is why you're alone." Well, the Doctor managed just fine without a companion in this episode.
I could have done without the bloody Gatwa, trademark Gatwa tear. I did not need it. Please stop, for the love of God.
Shooty Gatwa, you're a good lad, you're a good actor. Please stop crying at every single scene. I get it, we can express emotions, us queer folk, in public spaces. It's wonderful. But doing it at every single turn loses the impact of why you are feeling such a deep emotion in a scene. Like, he's crying about a Silurian that he's not met in the same way that he cried as the Lieutenant cradling John Sim as the Master. And he's doing the same thing to a Silurian he just met. It's really unweighted.
The Silurian guy was dying and the Doctor was talking to him. The guy was talking about how he'd come out of the freezing and how he got there and how exciting it was. And that was genuinely, that deserved the ubiquitous Gatwa tear, because it really did. But also just in general, the fact that by the 41st century, the Silurians are now a part of Earth. They're part. No, I don't want to say assimilated because that's not the right word. But they're now a part. I mean, yes, they're now part of the fight. The Doctor, because every Silurian story is the Doctor trying to create peace, but he never can, because obviously, the modern Earth does not have Silurians running about. But it's good to know that at some point in the future, eventually, humans and Silurians get along. And that genuinely warmed my heart. I love that.
I did like how at the end when Joy turned into the star, where you get to see like Anita looking at the star, and then she gets the job offer at the Time Hotel, which I really like. I actually do hope we get to see more of Anita in the future.
Because Moffat wrote it, I guess people expect more from that. But I mean, to me, he's not wrote a good Christmas special since his first one. So
I'm a bit of a Moffat defender on the whole, but I just don't think this was his best.
I kind of agree with what a lot of people have been saying tonight on the fact that if you have been watching for X amount of years, it is stuff that we've all seen before.
And I do think that if you're a more recent Doctor Who fan who hasn't watched very much recently, I think you might enjoy it. But I think if you've watched Doctor Who for any amount of time, you'll be going, "Oh, here's the same old yeah, Jesus." I know.
It's as if he's doing a bad cover of each of his own greatest hits. Like, he's using all these classic Stephen Moffat tropes, like they're all in there, but there's just very little in it to give it anything that feels unique. So we had the thing of breaking someone out of the technology that they're in using the power of emotion. That's a big Moffat thing, came up in Boom, came up in Series 5, like all over his work.
How many times do we need data ghosts to be a
Oh,
thing?
data ghosts
Now,
endlessly.
How many times that the love overpowers everything? I mean, Villengard really need to update their virus software.
We had Everybody Lives, we had The Doctor Lives a Normal Life for a period of time for the first time ever. And this is the thing, you can't just keep doing this and expect it to have the same impact as it had the first time. Additionally, he's even now doing these tropes in contexts where they don't make any sense, like saying the Doctor's going to live a normal life for the first time ever.
I don't know, the Fifth Doctor seems to go back to a self-loathing that I'm not sure was there before, but I feel that's why he stayed in that dingy hotel room for a year, despite the fact that, the 14th Doctor is out there with A, a big house that he could have lived in, and B, King TARDIS that he could have used to immediately go back to the Time Hotel in the 41st century and cut out all the shit which is not needed except narratively.
I hope this era of Doctor Who moves on from treading old ground.
I find with this you had a lot of repeating ideas, which is fine to an extent, but it's one of those things where you can kind of start seeing the writer's hand a little bit with trying to construct it to have these moments. And so while I liked it, I can kind of see, I guess, the argument why there maybe needs to be some new perspectives.
I don't actually know why this episode happened. I know that sounds like a really cynical thing to say, but it felt kind of like a filler.
It's probably a special that will probably leave me in the next wee while.
I found it an enjoyable episode, but a week from now I'll have forgotten it ever existed.
It was so generic. I knew I was practically forgetting it as I was watching it.
There's more exciting things allegedly now on TV on Christmas Day. 5 million more people watch Wallace and Gromit as soon as Doctor Who finished. Like, there is a need for original, entertaining drama that can happen in time and space. And this current run of Doctor Who is not meeting that.
So Jamie and I, we went down the corridor. I saw Jamie with the digestive biscuits, and we tried the snacks. But I couldn't do it. The banana in the... But,
of terrific ice storm.
But we didn't know, because we were very tough.
She also backed scuttled off like a giant spider. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't get my bloody. I'm glad I didn't get my hopes up. So.
Yes, no, me too.